Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us and welcome to yet another top 10 of the year for me. So this one is slightly different. It's still pickups. It's something again I've been really fortunate and able to pick these sort of figures up. So what I would class these as, I wouldn't class these as vintage. So they are from the year 2000 and above. I suppose it depends on your age what you'd class as vintage or not, but I definitely wouldn't be classing these as, you know, these didn't come out before the year 2000, so I think we can class them as relatively new. I suppose I'm just showing my age a little bit with that, but as ever, this is, again, I've been really fortunate with pretty much the majority of these. I've got a good friend, Paul Hitchens at the Space Bridge, who's managed to sort me out a few of these things. Quite a few of these I did pick up at TF Nation from the Toy Foo stand, and again, I think you'll have seen most of these, but these again are sort of things that are quite scarce. They do take a lot of finding in a lot of them. Some of them you may have just been able to pick up at the time, but it was something that I perhaps missed out on. But once again, it's been fun collating these, and I'm liking the fact that you guys are commenting as much as you are on them as well. It's interesting to see what everybody's take on what they've picked up as well is, because as a community we've just got so much choice out there. It is crazy, and I think that's what this list is going to show you. To be fair, this is a complete not mishmash, but there's a culmination of a lot of different toy lines in this particular list. And as always, I've always got some special mentions or some ones that just missed out, and these are just, I suppose, standard figures, but I say standard if you live in Japan. So these are the Takara versions of some toys that came out. This one was in 2010, definitely. This is your first edition War for Cybertron Bumblebee, but as you can see, he is a beautiful, beautiful gold colour. And the same with, of course, I think they actually called this one Goldbug, to be fair. So this was your classics Bumblebee, but again, the Takara versions, Takara have done this, as I say, for as long as I've known. They've either called it Premium Finish during the Warp for Cybertron trilogy. They're doing it now with the Beast Wars versus packs. They're doing it with the Nemesis at the Bridge. They always seem to just do that little bit extra with regards to the paint apps. Now, these two I both purchased from Space Bridge at TF Nation. And this one, funnily enough, I picked up again at Toy Foo at TF Nation. So that's your Galvatron, which again came out. It's either the Universe or the Classics line, but the Takara version, as you can see, is a more cartoon accurate with the chrome. I suppose that's the thing that I'm mentioning the most. The Takara versions tend to have a lot of the chrome, a lot of the different paint apps. So them three didn't make it into the top 10, but they are all figures that I was very, very pleased to, in fact, pick up. Now, my list is all over the place. I've tried to put them in some sort of semblance of order. I'm literally dropping everything right below me, which isn't good, but I've got my list here. And in at number 10, this is one that perhaps I was after this for quite a bit of time, and then all of a sudden there's a couple of these. There's still two more of these on eBay right now. And it was just this particular version of Ironhide that was completely eluding me. I'm lucky enough to get the green one, which of course was based on the movie Ratchet. I think I put him in the top 10 last year, but this is the black Ironhide. This isn't the Diaclone original at all. This is the Ehobby reissue, I think around 2010. I could be completely wrong with that, to be fair. I'm sure I'm going to be corrected, but it's exactly that. It's just a black version of Generation 1 Ironhide. I'm not even too sure if it's classed as an Ehobby. I know it's definitely classed as an, you know, the Takara reissues, but this is one, of course, if you remember, we had a version of this, excuse me, in Generation Selects. Yeah, not too long ago, to be fair. I think just at the tail end of War for Cybertron, in honesty, but I was really pleased to get the original. And of course, well, I say the original, this particular version, because I doubt very much that I will get a Diaclone original. That sounds a little bit better. Yeah, I'm not on the hunt for a Diaclone original because everybody knows Diaclone originals are insane prices. Right, the next one again is a teeny bit of a cheat because it's two. And again, I already own this one. So this is the one that I already owned. This is, and I'm sure I've got this the right way around. I probably should have just checked. So there was a War for Cybertron, of course, not trilogy, the War for Cybertron game that came out around about, the toy line that came out around about the Generations time in 2010. Now, I'm sure, and I hope I haven't got these two mixed up because I should have checked. The standard one had the yellow bits there, and I'm sure the Toys R Us version had, in fact, no, it's probably the other way around. I think this was, anyway, there was a Toys R Us 3-pack, and I already had the Optimus Prime. I had both versions of the Optimus Prime, the one that came in the Generations pack, and then the one which came in the 3-pack, which had the different colour parts there. But obviously what I needed to do was I needed to complete the trilogy. And again, thankfully, unbelievably, again at Toy Foo at TF Nation, they had the other two members So that is your Bumblebee. Again, same mold as the one you've just seen, but with the Toys R Us, they just added that little bit of extra detail on it. And the same with the Megatron. Again, same as the Generations 2010 version of Megatron, just different paint apps because it was part of a 3-pack for Toys R Us. And as I've always said in the UK, even when we had Toys R Us's, the nearest one to me was Shrewsbury, which is, you know, it wasn't close, to be fair. We never had one super close, but these are slightly different. And again, I've got to hang my head in shame. I've still not got around to reviewing any of these, unfortunately, guys, but I will do, I promise. So you can see the differences as well. Right, the next one is, it's quite big. I'm going to get it in a minute. This one, again, I can't remember who it was. I think it actually might have been Kapow who stopped me. I was literally leaving TF Nation and I saw it and I was like, oh, I was a bit gutted that I hadn't seen it beforehand, but they just gave me such a good price on it. I mentioned this in the video. It was something that, in all honesty, I really should have picked up when it first came out. I then saw this at the rollout roll call that I went to about 3 years ago. And again, it was there and it was just a normal price. And I really should have picked it up. And then this price skyrocketed. It's still really quite high for what it is. I am going to open it. I am going to do a review on it. But the guys let me, I'm sure it was Kapow. If I'm wrong, I'm totally sorry to the seller. Please put who you are in the comments. And of course, I will correct that later on. But I'm sure it was Kapow. And this was and is the Pit of Judgment. I was after this for ages. And the reason why I picked this up is because they basically let me have it for just more than what the cost price of is what this was selling for at the particular time. So it was an absolute no-brainer for myself, even though I've still not opened it yet. And again, embarrassingly enough, TF Nation was in August and I've still not even opened it, but I am going through again another process of trying to organize the collection because it's just got too big, which I'm doing things I don't like to do. And whenever I get asked advice, even though my advice is just purely for myself, normally with collections I always say to people, what's the point in having one unless you can see them? And that always was my thing, always was my answer. But now, because I've just got too many, I'm having to put some things in storage boxes and keep them in my room. But it's something that I don't really like to do. I like to see everything. So that's by the by. That was my number 9. I'm sure it was. Yes. No, it wasn't. That was my number 8, Pit of Judgment. So moving on to number 7. I'm looking at my list as well, and I'm all over the shop, but they should all be in order now. This again is thank you to another subscriber, another good friend of mine. He does helps me with my intros, helps me with the sound effects, etc, etc. And luckily for me, he's a Hot Wheels collector, and luckily for me, he is on whatever their special list is, which means that he had the opportunity to get me one of these. This is, of course, the Hot Wheels, not gonna lie, overpriced Optimus Prime figure. But I say overpriced, but the price this is commanding now, it's stupid, to be fair. I got this for cost. He got it for me. As I say, he was able to order one for himself and myself. And it is a beautiful, beautiful figure. I hope for a lot of people's sake that they do reissue them. I'm not bothered if that means that the value of this one drops. As I said, I'm a collector at heart, and I would love for people to get their hands on this little guy because he's just amazing. He's beautiful. The box set and everything is beautiful. I have done a full review on this channel if you want to have a look at it. But yeah, Hot Wheels Optimus Prime was a big standout for me this year because everybody wanted him, didn't they? Everybody wanted him, and then all of a sudden it just went really quiet because I think people realised just how limited release he actually was. Right, moving on to number 6. This again comes part of a 3-pack, but I've only reviewed the one of them, and I only particularly got I got the set mainly for this guy. This is an Ehobby. This is your Crystal Rodimus. I think it was his proper name. He comes in the Autobot 3-pack. Again, Ehobby, you're going to see quite a few more of them coming up in a minute. Ehobby, if you don't know, guys, I've got a full playlist on this channel of Ehobby figures. So Ehobby is like a sister company to Takara. They work with them. Takara allow them to use the molds, allow them to use the proper names. They just give us beautiful versions of figures and characters that, you know, that we either missed out of, or things like this, special edition ones. So they started off in the early 2000s with figures like Sunstorm and Hauler and all that sort of stuff, using the original G1 molds to give us the characters that weren't out. Then they did, of course, the Translucent Magnus, the Nuclear Quest Convoy, etc. All them figures I've got reviews of on this channel, but this one, from the classics mold, they also do some more, you know, up-to-date figures as well. And this was one that I really wanted just because it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. Okay, moving on to number 6. This again is more of an embarrassment because, oh no, this is number 5. And this is again an embarrassment because I've not even built it up. I revealed that I had this not so long ago. This is a chase version of 6 Turbo, and it's all black members. So when they reissued all the Micromasters in the early 2000s, because I think they were part of either the Cybertron, definitely came under the Unicron trilogy anyway, and they were releasing these in little packs in the West, but in Japan they were releasing them in boxes with the numbers on, etc., under the Micromasters, and they did chase versions as well as complete redecos. So for instance, that is a chase version of 6 Turbo. Let me just show you exactly what I mean, because I picked up this guy. So this was just, I think, the normal version in Japan that they released of 6 Liner. Now, of course, I'm lucky enough to have the red version of this, which was the chase. I picked that up a couple of years ago. And as I say, this is still different colours to the Cybertron version, I think, that came out in the early 2000s, because this is how he was sold in Japan. So this one perhaps should have made the top 10 as well, but I think because, as bad as this sounds, because it was just a standard version in Japan, even though it's beautiful, I didn't put him in. Perhaps I should have given him a special mention, but everybody knows, I think, they came in little boxes, sold individually in the West, but in Japan they were in actual boxes with the numbers on. And as I say, you could get chase versions of them particular figures, pretty much exactly like what I'm going to show you now, or sort of as well. This is number 4, and this is, here we go, this is the Decepticon version of Sixwing with the purple colours. Thank you again to Spacebridge for this, and the last one in fact, the last 2 that you've just seen, that's Spacebridge Paul. I wanted this for so long, and I don't know, you sort of remember things and forget things. I wanted it really, in fact, the only one I haven't got of this version now, because again, thanks to Paul, he sourced me the chase variant of this. I'm not going to say any more about that because I want to surprise people, but I actually don't have the standard Cybertron, or whichever version it was, with the normal colours that came out everywhere else. I've managed to source all the others, including the original vintage one, but I don't actually have that, so that's going to be on my list for next year. And this is just, the colour scheme is beautiful. I have done a video on this, thankfully, and I have compared to the original Japanese 1992 variant. So there you go, that was the purple Sixwing. We are moving into the top 3. I've got to rub my eyes, I'm ever so sorry. This was really hard for all of these 3, because they could have all come first, they could have all come second, or could have come third. But I think I've just gone for different reasons, because this one perhaps could have been number 1, because I think in Generation 1 terms, this is probably my favourite combiner in Generation 1 terms. This is Landcross. I absolutely love Landcross. I love all the things about him. I love the fact that he's got 36 basically different combinations. If you don't know anything about Landcross, check out the Landcross videos of on this channel as well. So he's 6 individual bots. They've all got a robot mode, they've all got an alternate mode, they've got a powered up alternate mode. And the best thing about these is you can combine any two bots, any 2 from these 6 together in any way that you want. Either one can be the bottom and one can be the top, and vice versa. And they can combine. It's one of the best toys ever. And this again is the chase version. This is the stealth version. When they did the reissue in the early 2000s, again in Japan, they put them all in individual boxes rather than a big set, which again you got when they first were released. And again, they did chase versions like this. So again, just a stunning figure. And if you want to see more information, just type Landcross into the search bar on this channel. There is loads of things regarding Landcross on here, because I love the character. I think he's amazing. Right, into the top 2 then, and these 2 are Ehobby figures. And the reason these are in the top 2, and again, Paul Spacebridge, both of these, it's just, I suppose, the fact of how long I've wanted these for, and how much I kicked myself for not getting them first time around. I've got 2 here, then I've got another figure to mention at the end as well, which I'll give a full reason why in a second. So number 2 was this one, and the reason why I think I didn't put this at number 1 was because I got the updated version from Takara with the Beast Wars twin pack. But this is the Ehobby Starscream. I've been after this guy for ages, and he just went, again, dumb prices. You'll see it on the internet now. He's going for like 300 quid. I think I paid less than half of that, which is still a lot of money for a figure, I know. So I always have to say thank you to everybody who buys my things from eBay, etc. I'm constantly recycling my collection on eBay. So, you know, you guys, I say it all the time, but it's serious. You guys help me fund my hobby, which is this. I just buy figures. Sometimes I don't keep them, sometimes I recycle them. And that's exactly what I'm doing at the moment, again, because I can't keep everything on my shelves. So I was able to buy this from Paul's Spacebridge, and yeah, it's beautiful. It's the G1 mold, and it is the Ehobby Special Ghost Starscream, and I've been after this one for ages. So yeah, this is all die cast apart from the rest, which is all plastic. And this came in at number 2. Now, I have 2 number 1s for 2 completely different reasons. And as I say, I'm going to carry on with this normal chart at first, because the other number 1 is something that I don't want to encourage, but I definitely feel that it needs a mention. But I'll come to that in a second. So this was number 1. I should have got Wheelie out with him as well. Sorry, I should have got Dion out as well with him. This is a 2-pack. This is, of course, the first iteration of Orion Pax. I think this was the first figure version of Orion Pax. This is Ehobby. This is before they did Collectors Club. I'm sure there's Collectors Club versions, and definitely before they did the Generations versions as well. And what is really cool is I was having a conversation with Evan, and it was no accident. It was intentional. So you may or may not recognize that this is basically the Generation 1 cup mold. It is the Generation 1 cup mold, and they obviously gave us Orion Pax, the first one from Ehobby. And then, of course, if you think now, modern day terms, if you think of Studio Series 86, we had a brand new cup. And then if you think of was it the War Dawn or the other pack, whichever pack it was, we had another version of Orion Pax. And of course, if those of you can now remember, or light bulb dinging like myself, it was the reuse of the Studio Series 86 cup mold. And that was intentional. And I just love that little bit of an Easter egg, a little bit of a nice fact for you there. So the first ever Orion Pax was used, sorry, the first ever Orion Pax figure came from a cup mold. And then, of course, exactly that, I suppose the first mainstream release of an Orion Pax figure came from a cup mold, and I just really, really liked that. And again, I was after this for ages, and I perhaps should have got out his Target Master partner in Dion, but it was all about him, and I just love that little fact about this. I love things like that. I love little Easter eggs. I love how they just do things like that. It's really, really good. So that is number 1. But as I say, I have a bonus number 1. And the reason why I have a bonus number 1 is because this is a figure that I was after for quite a bit of time. It's not been out too long. She is a big clue. She's only been around for a little bit of time, but I just missed out on it for whatever particular reason. And then this is, I suppose, this is why I want to highlight it, but I please don't want to encourage it, and I don't expect anything like this at all. But this was a gift. This is an unbelievable gift that I received from a subscriber who, and I know you're going to say, well, how's they got your address? They've got my address because they've brought things from me, and I've brought things from them in the past due to eBay, due to the private Discord that I've got for channel members. So I do lots of buying and selling. Again, I sell most of my collection first and foremost to the Discord community, give them first dibs, and then the rest of the stuff goes on eBay. But anyway, long story short, this was sent to me as a gift, which is completely ridiculous, for my birthday by a subscriber, and it just needs mentioning because she's just a stunning figure. And I couldn't believe it. And that was, I'm sure you may have guessed with the fact that it's a she. Honestly, guys, I mean, I can't believe it that I got sent this as a birthday present by somebody. So it more than needs a mention because she's amazing. She's stunning. She was the only Titan that I was missing. And again, I suppose I just want to highlight how crazily good and nice, not just because I'm benefiting from this. I know I've benefited from this, but I just want to say what an amazing community that we've got. And we all do like to help each other out. I mean, there's funnily something, I don't know if anybody knows Reflector Files. You're going to see something that I'm helping him out with his collection very, very soon. And I'm selling him one of my figures at a much, much lower price. So he gets to complete his, we just do all these things that we work and help together. And that to me was just a huge, unbelievable gesture that more than needs recognising, and it also needs, I suppose, exactly that, recognising and the thanks from me to come again. I already did a video saying thank you. I said thank you in the review, but I think it also needs an extra special note as well. But there you go. That's my top 10 other figures that I've managed to source this year. So many different ones, so many good things. And again, what an amazing year. And I think next year is going to be even better because the lists of figures that we've still got to come out, we've just seen obviously the new Triptychon in the new colours, etc. There's so many figures coming out, and of course we're getting close to the 40th anniversary of the movie, so it's going to be a crazy couple of years, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you've got any of these, if you love them as well. And of course, again, huge thanks for the support. Take care.